You're listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast brought to you by DraftKings, code word PHNX, the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Here's the deal right now. You throw down $5 on an NBA game. If your side wins, guess what? You get $150 in free plays. I can do it. Brody, Dryden can do it. Anybody out there can do it. Hop on their DraftKings Sportsbook app. All right, big dog. Brody Dryden, the voice of the Arizona women's basketball team. So, obviously, things are on pause, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. But, Brody, first and foremost, I wanted to talk to you just kind of about, well, let's talk about your Christmas first. Did you get any large clothing for your 6'8" frame?
I did get some large clothing. I think that was the majority of what I got for Christmas. I did get a bartending set that I've been wanting, so I can be mixing up some drinks, some old fashions, all that good stuff, and I'm excited. I'm going to have to make you a drink sometime, Mike.
Well, I saw your Instagram story. Were you out there showing the bar scene? What's going on with that?
Yeah. I was at the good old local watering hole, the Old Father Inn. It's a good old time out there. So yeah.
Okay. All right, Brody. So Arizona women's basketball has been on a historic run so far. Going into the season, I think a lot of people were looking at it and saying this is a team probably with, fringe top 25 potential, but you're losing the best player in school history. Hard to make a lot out of, exactly where they were going. They've blown the doors off of those expectations, and they've shown that they are a national title contender. What in their out-of-conference schedule so far, what has been most surprising for you up close, being that, you're calling the games, you're literally a few feet away, if anything, or maybe Brody Dryden is just clairvoyant and foresaw all of this?
No, I definitely didn't. It's been an exciting season, exciting non-conference schedule and stuff. I think we knew it was going to be a really good team. I don't know if I expected the sheer dominance that they've displayed so far against some really solid teams. We see, in multiple games, and most recently against a pretty good Northern Arizona team. It's like basically in any sport, you expect Arizona to defeat NAU and stuff, but they just handled NAU in that last game. It was a final score, I think, 82-55, and they had a solid roster, NAU, of some transfers, some big players, and previous games like Rutgers, who's a solid program. It's just they're dominating some of these opponents so well. It is too bad that last game in Las Vegas that was supposed to be against Texas got canceled, because that would have definitely been the best non-conference team they play, other than Louisville, which was the second game of the season. So that was unfortunate, but they're just really good, and it's been a good appetizer, I think, for what Pac-12 play has to offer, and that's going to be starting up here in a few days, hopefully.
I was going to say a nice appetizer. So let's talk a little bit of the front court. I'm writing a little bit of an article just kind of about, how everything has been kind of fast tracked, I think, for some of the reasons that we talked about. But let's just talk up front in the front court first, because last year you have Ari McDonald, who is, kind of a one-woman wrecking crew. And again, she had a lot of really good players around her, but she was the one that brought in, the eyes, the casual viewer. This year's team, first and foremost, they are big up front. When you can go with a Lauren Ware, when you can go with a Kate Reese, when you can go with a Sam Thomas, and they're all different. Lauren Ware, Kate Reese, both big-time high school recruits. Kate Reese becoming the leading scorer on the team. Sam Thomas, that jack-of-all-trades defender. That's really kind of what they've cut their teeth on so far this year, Brody.
Yeah, definitely. I think something that's been sort of underrated, if you could call it that, is just Kate Reese's ability around the basket, because we knew she could score. We knew she had that ability in years past, but now she's just gotten much more opportunity to kind of show off and handle the ball down low and have a lot more shots. And she's really been doing a good job down there. She just has a great way of like finding the angles off the glass in the post, where she can just has great touch, and just gets the ball up there off the glass to drop so often. And yeah, she pairs really well with Lauren Ware, who I think is one of, if not the best post defender in the nation. And so we haven't gotten an update on Lauren Ware's injury now in a few days with everything going on in the holiday break, but hopefully we'll see where she's at after her leg injury she sustained. But yeah, them two, and then Sam Thomas as well. I mean, it's Adia Barnes says it every time, and you can tell sometimes it doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Sam Thomas isn't always putting up crazy numbers or whatever, but when you watch the games and Adia Barnes says it in the huddle and with the team, she's such an essential part, leading the team and all that stuff. So yeah, they're in great hands there.
All right, so Lauren Ware, let's talk a little bit about that, because I think you hit the nail on the head right there about her post defense. First and foremost, it looks like they escaped. It looks like, at least from just reading the headlines, that they escaped a major injury scare right there. Who knows quite how long she's going to be out. But when you watch her out there, though, I mean, it's kind of like watching the player that's just taller than everybody else out there. And she really kind of does give them a little bit of a margin for error just on that defensive back end that maybe they didn't even necessarily have last year, just because she didn't become quite the player then that she is now there, Brody.
Yeah, and I think her experience with Team USA in the offseason really helped her there. It gave her a lot of confidence, and you can see the leap there, definitely. So I think her and Kate Reese together really team up well to kind of collapse in the post defense. And then it's Lauren Ware that's there to, she leads the books. She's just been a phenomenal post presence there. And then, offensively, she's there as well to this team is really good on the offensive rebound side and being there for the second chance bucket opportunities. And the young players, but behind Lauren Ware is still very young, but I think it's good that she's kind of there and ready to hopefully take notes and learn from what Kate Reese is doing on the offensive side to kind of develop that a little bit more. But yeah, she's doing everything she's supposed to, and you can tell her absence has affected the team. Arizona still hasn't lost 10-0 record on the season, but you can tell that gap in the post defense has been missing in some of these games, and it would have been interesting to see against Texas, and we'll see how long Arizona has to play in Pac-12 play without her. But on the other note, I think it's kind of giving some other younger players that opportunity, and the Wildcats are kind of learning how to fill in that void when they have to.
Let's switch over to the perimeter side in a second, but one thing that you should never switch over on, because you should always be on it, is the DraftKings Sportsbook app, code word PHNX. Here's the deal. You throw down $5 on an NBA game, new customers only, and if your team wins, get $150 in free plays. Put it to you like this. Brody Dryden is a big Toronto Raptors fan. I first met Brody right before they were about to win their first championship, well, their only championship, and I thought this young buck was crazy with all of his talk about the Raptors. Well, he wasn't. You know what? The DraftKings Sportsbook app for Brody Dryden wasn't around back then, but it is here now. If you've got that same Raptors inclination that the young Mr. Dryden did, then you better hop on there and make that one happen. Now, again, new customers only, Arizona only, 21 and up. Eligibility restrictions do apply. If you got a gambling issue, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. They'll get you taken care of. Again, DraftKings Sportsbook app, code word PHNX. How about that for a transition there, Brody?
That was professional stuff, Mike. I think you've done that before. By the way, great. I love the new intro.
I like it too. Stuff. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Guess who didn't have anything to do with that? This guy.
well, it looks great.
All right. Well,
so that's what counts.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of it as well. Yeah, Jacob Franklin back there, our producer, almost as tall as Brody, is a guy that I think had a lot to do with that. So, yeah. All right, Brody, let's switch over to the perimeter now. Now, Shayna Pellington obviously is getting a lot of love, as she should. Big last-second shot. She really kind of came alive, for the national view in the NCAA tournament last year. What has been your take of the perimeter play so far between Shayna and some of the other players on the team? Maybe some that have been a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, no, Shayna's definitely held her own. And one thing that coming into the season, there was a lot of pressure on Shayna Pellington with, all the talk about Ari McDonald's leaving. How is Shayna Pellington going to kind of like fill that role and whatnot? But she's just a different player than Ari, and I think she's been herself. And Coach Barnes has talked about it, that Shayna has been Shayna. She doesn't have to try to be Ari or anything like that, and that's exactly I think the way that it should be gone about, because that's the thing, is she's got her own style of play. She's just been a rock on the point guard play. She's been an excellent facilitator. She's been there in the clutch, had that buzzer beater, and she's just been really good. I think some of the surprises I'd say are from the younger players, like Maddie Connor has erupted lately for her great 3-point shooting. We saw that early on in the season against some of the lower division non-conference opponents in the exhibition games and whatnot. So we knew Maddie Connor had some ability and whatnot, but she's really just gotten a lot of confidence in the past couple of games, and she hit her career high 15 points. And she's just been reigning in the threes there. And then another starter that I feel like doesn't just get talked about a ton is Bendu Yaney. And she, to draw a comparison to the U of A men's program, I feel like she's sort of like a Dalen Terry type, do-it-all,
right,
good defender and a facilitator and whatnot. She's great. A passer of the ball. She's incredibly physical, possibly one of the best wing defenders in the Pac-12. So she's been really great. The perimeter is really balanced for Arizona, and that's the other thing. We mentioned Sam Thomas in the front court, but she really can do it all. She'll handle the ball, bring the ball up, and play in the post. Do whatever she wants. Helena Puello deserves some recognition for all she's done handling the ball, and she's been that big guard and a good defender, a good shooter. And it's been said by Adia time and time again that 1 through 15, every player on the roster has a spot and can fill a role, and can be out there playing, could be out there starting. And every time somebody gets an opportunity or gets a few more shots per game, it's like you realize, man, that is true, because all these players really are so good, and that's been quite evident so far early on this season.
Okay, Brody. I want to talk a little bit about recruiting here in a second. But one thing I wanted to get your expectations on going into conference play here shortly. From at least what we're hearing right now, is it all signs go for the upcoming game, or
yes,
are you not at liberty to discuss what's the deal there?
Yeah, as far as I know, game against USC on New Year's Eve, 9:00 Tucson time for the tip-off. That is still good to go. So we'll keep an eye on things, because obviously, as everyone has gone home for Christmas and coming back and whatever, we'll hear. And there were COVID problems within the UCLA program for the January 2nd game, and that's why that was canceled. But at this very moment, USC on New Year's Eve is still on.
Okay, great. Now, one thing that's always on is the DraftKings Sportsbook app, code word PHNX. You know what? All kinds of great deals going on right now. But if you're a new customer and you want some money and you think you're pretty good at the NBA, throw down $5 on a game, and if your team wins, you get $150 in free plays. Here's a hint: maybe take the Golden State Warriors. They're pretty good right now, and then take that $150 if they win, and you can see where it goes from there. Or if you're a guy like Brody Dryden and you like 500 basketball teams or teams that are around there, you can go with the Toronto Raptors right there and throw that one in there as well, and they'll get you all started there as well. So that's all kinds of stuff going on there in the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Code word PHNX. Again, little Raptors love for you there, Brody.
Yeah, and I've got to say, my best friend Eric Wong, who I hosted a camp student radio show for 4 years together with, we were just golfing, and he placed a parlay against both Phoenix teams. He's a Warriors fan and a Colts fan, and he parlayed the money line for both of those, and as we know yesterday, those both hit. So
interesting.
good,
All right,
yeah.
I like his style.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know. I thought you wouldn't like it, Mike, because those are against both of your teams. But
right, but you know what? I absolutely love though going after something that where. You know what? I'm going to go against the grain here. I don't support what he chose, but I support his ability to be able to make that. And you know what?
Yeah.
That's why you want to be on the DraftKings Sportsbook app.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's talk a little bit of recruiting before we let young Mr. Dryden sign off here. First and foremost, Brody, every time I look around, it seems that Adia Barnes is getting another top 20 recruit. Now, the one that I think really stuck out for a lot of people is Maya Najee. Obviously Zeke Najee's cousin, top 5 to 10 posts, depending on whatever service you want to look at. One of the handful of best players in the nation, the kind of player that, UConn, Stanford, Tennessee back in the day were accustomed to getting. Those are the kind of players that Adia Barnes is bringing in now. You got another top 20 commit just in the last week or so. Brody, what's exciting to me about this is that this isn't showing any signs of stopping.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. The recruiting has been at an all-time high. There's the top class in program history coming in next year, and they're already getting started on 2023 and the future. So the future is bright. It's wild that it seems like there's kind of the budding teams that get the top recruiting class, and there's hope for the future. But it's wild that this team looks like a legit championship contender right now, and they're still just getting better and better in the future. It's crazy, but I think that just speaks to what a season like last year, a postseason run can do for a program. It speaks to how well Coach Barnes and her staff are just at recruiting and hospitality, and showing all that McHale and Tucson has to offer. And, it's going to be interesting to see with how many young, really good players are on the roster right now. And if they keep on bringing so many good recruiting classes, how they all fit, because, the quote unquote problem, I guess, with having, a 1 through 15 roster that all could start is, kind of almost like too many cooks in the kitchen or whatever. It's a great problem to have, but we'll see how everything meshes together. I think that's going to be the biggest challenge, but obviously it's one that they've been solving already this year with no problem. And so we'll see how it goes in the future.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking with the voice of the men's basketball team, Brian Jeffries, and we were talking a little bit about just kind of about what's going on with the women's basketball team. And I can't remember if I volunteered or if he did. Probably him, because it's a good point. But he mentioned something to the effect of, it was kind of like, a little bit when Sean Elliott came in with Ari McDonald, and that Lute was going to be successful, Adia Barnes was going to be successful, but that just kind of shot everything into the into the next level. Then Sean Elliott leaves. People are saying, all right, what kind of basketball program are you going to be dealing with here? And Arizona doesn't really miss much of a beat, and over the next 15 years makes 3 more Final Fours, wins a national championship. I'm not saying quite that Adia is going to have that kind of success, but I'm also not saying that she's not going to have that kind of success either. What she has shown is that this is now a basketball program. This isn't just a This wasn't just kind of a fly-by night. We got lucky. We'll see you again in 6 years. They aren't going anywhere. And I think for if you're a high school women's basketball recruit, that's got to be incredibly enticing because you can be on the verge of something special, but you already know that the proof's in the pudding. So why not hop in here too with one of the most dynamic coaches in all of college basketball? And you get to watch all that up close there, Mr. Dryden.
Oh yeah, no, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be doing so, and that's the thing. The potential is really there, and the conversation around NCAA women's basketball, growing the game, and just how far it's come in the last few years has been tremendous. And it's not just for a few teams or say in the early days, just UConn. It seemed like where Gino Ariema would get all the players, and then it was kind of like,
right, you go for the leftovers.
Yeah, exactly. It's really grown in the sense that there is now in Arizona, that's one of the best programs in the nation. There's multiple Pac-12 teams. It's not just kind of Stanford or one team kind of coming out of the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is the best conference in women's basketball right now, and you even see on the East Coast, and it's not just UConn, but it's kind of a sign of the times and showing that UConn is falling lower in the rankings than they ever have in the past decade plus, and so it's a great opportunity to get into a program and help a program that hadn't seen success for so long, and now they're on the up and up, and you could see how well they're doing right now, and the fact that so many recruits are buying into that future. It gives, it's that domino effect. It gives a lot of other players that confidence that, okay, I'm in this because I'm seeing how good I can be in the system, and then I'm going to be in there with a lot of other good recruits. So it's definitely an exciting time right now.
Well, it's also an exciting time to hop on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Go to gophnx.com. We got everything covered. We got the Cardinals. We got the Suns. We got we got the Wildcats. We got the Coyotes, the D-backs, the Sun Devils. We got you all covered. And as Brody said too, this is an exciting time for Arizona women's basketball. Let me ask you this, Brody. Is there ever been a better time to back the A than now if you were on the fence?
The thing is, if you're on the fence, you're not backing the A. So I think you just got to hop on over, back the A right now. And I don't think there has been a better time, Mike.
All right, Brody, as always, you are the man, dude. We really appreciate you. Again, AZ Wildcats podcast. We'll have this up there shortly. Brody, we always check. We like to check in with you every couple weeks. And again, dude, you have been the absolute man. Before we let you go, though, where can they catch you next, though? We know you're a busy man.
Yes. Yeah, next broadcast is going to be right now scheduled to be New Year's Eve, 9 o'clock Tucson time, 1400 KTUC. So while you're, popping champagne or apple cider or whatever and getting ready for the night ahead for the ball to drop, you could tune into some good women's basketball for your night. So 9 o'clock Tucson time, 1400 KTUC. We're online as well. Arizona's playing USC. So thank you, Mike.
He's Brody Dryden. I am Mike Luke. Thank you so much. We'll be back with you tomorrow. We got to talk a little bit of smorgasbord of everything, trying to get Anthony Gimino on. You've been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.